I will never forget the Christmas morning when I realized my own son had forgotten who raised him. My name is Dorothy, and I'm 70 years old. I live in the same house where my husband Tom and I raised our son Marcus. Tom passed away 2 years ago, and since then, I've been living alone. Well, mostly alone. That Christmas morning I was standing in my kitchen, watching through the window as something unbelievable happened in my driveway. My son Marcus was standing next to a shiny red car with a giant bow on top. It wasn't just any car. It was a brand new luxury car that cost $60,000. But the car wasn't for me. It was for Linda. Who is Linda? Good question. Linda showed up at our family gatherings about 8 months ago. She has pretty silver hair and always wears expensive clothes. She told everyone she was a lonely widow with no family. Marcus started calling her Mom Linda, which made my stomach hurt every time I heard it. That Christmas morning, Marcus handed Linda the keys to that expensive car. His wife Ashley was clapping and squealing like they had just won the lottery. They were all so happy and excited. And me? Well, let me show you what my loving son gave his actual mother. I held up a small plastic piggy bank. It was pink and had exactly $3 inside. That's right. $3 whole. After 35 years of being his mom. After paying for his college. After helping with his wedding. After every sacrifice I ever made. I got $3 in a plastic piggy bank meant for little kids. It's symbolic, Mom, Marcus had said with a smile. You're always so good at saving money. We thought this was perfect for you. I had smiled and said thank you. Because that's what good mothers do, right? We smile even when our hearts are breaking into a million pieces. Spent 6 hours that morning cooking Christmas dinner for everyone. I made honey ham, homemade bread rolls, green beans, and a special dessert that Ashley likes but nobody else does. My feet hurt. My back hurt. My hands were sore from all the work. And while I was cleaning up, they all left. Marcus, Ashley, and Linda drove away in that expensive car to show it off to the neighbors. They didn't ask if I wanted to come. They just left me alone in my messy kitchen. Thanks for dinner, Mom. See you next week. Marcus had yelled as they rushed out the door. That's when I noticed something interesting. Linda had left her purse on my kitchen counter. It was sitting right next to my $3 piggy bank. A very expensive purse. The kind that probably costs more than my groceries for a whole month. I picked up the purse, telling myself I was just keeping it safe for her. But as I looked inside, I saw something that made me very curious. Her wallet was stuffed with money and credit cards. There were fancy store cards for expensive shops. And there were papers folded behind her driver's license. Bank papers. Carried the purse to my bedroom to look more carefully. I told myself I was just making sure nothing was missing. That's what helpful people do, right? Part 2. Secrets in a purse. Linda's wallet told me a very different story than the one she had been telling my family. There was almost $400 in cash. Multiple credit cards from different banks. Store cards for the fanciest stores in town. But the most interesting things were the folded papers hidden behind her driver's license. Bank statements. 3 of them. Printed just last week. My eyes got very wide when I saw the numbers. Linda wasn't just comfortable with money. She was rich. Really, really rich. Her bank account had so many zeros that I had to count them twice to believe it. This woman had been acting like a poor, lonely widow. But she had more money than I'd seen since Tom's life insurance paid out after he died. Her phone kept buzzing with text messages. I couldn't help but see the notifications lighting up the screen. Deposit confirmed. $15,000 from Sunset Investments. Meeting confirmed for Thursday. Bring the Williams file. Williams. That's my family name. I sat down in Tom's old chair, the one Marcus wanted me to throw away, and felt my heart beating fast. Something was very wrong here. Then I noticed a medicine bottle in her purse. It was for anxiety medication, prescribed just 2 months ago. Right around the time, Linda started being very interested in my finances and my house. That's when my phone rang. It was a police officer. "Mrs. Williams, this is Officer Patterson. I'm calling about a missing person report. Do you know Linda Chun?" My stomach dropped, but I kept my voice calm. "Linda Chun? I'm sorry, officer, but I don't know anyone by that name. Our records show she was at your house today. Her son filed a missing person report when she didn't come home." Her son? Linda had a son. She never mentioned having any children. She always said she was completely alone in the world with no family at all. "We did have Christmas dinner today," I told the officer carefully. "But I think she left with my son and his wife. They were going for a drive in her new car." After I hung up, I looked at Linda's phone again. 23 missed calls from someone named Brian Chun. The text messages were getting more and more worried. "Mom, where are you? The police are looking for you. Please call me back." So Linda had a son who cared about her so much that he called the police when she didn't answer her phone. Meanwhile, my own son probably wouldn't notice if I disappeared for a week. I opened the photo gallery on her phone, telling myself I needed to be thorough. Most of the recent photos showed Linda at our family gatherings. She was in pictures from Marcus and Ashley's anniversary dinner, their summer barbecue, Ashley's birthday party. In every single photo, Linda was standing between Marcus and Ashley like she was the real mother. But the older photos made my blood run cold. There were pictures of documents, screenshots of bank information, photos of rooms inside my house, including my bedroom and my private office, places where a guest should never go. The dates on the photos showed she had been taking these pictures for months. Long before she became so close to our family, my hands started shaking when I scrolled further back. There was a photo of Tom's death certificate, a picture of our marriage license, screenshots of property records, showing how much my house is worth. And then I saw something that made my stomach hurt. A photo of my social security card, which I keep hidden in my jewelry box upstairs. Linda Chen wasn't just a lonely widow looking for a family. She was spying on us. She was collecting information about us. But why? What was she planning to do with all this information? I carefully put everything back in Linda's purse exactly as I found it. But first, I took photos of the bank statements and the strange documents with my own phone. If Linda was playing a game, I needed to know the rules. 2 hours later, I heard the expensive car pull into my driveway. I grabbed Linda's purse and went to the kitchen, ready to act like a concerned mother who had discovered they forgot something. But as I watched Linda walk toward my door, I noticed something I had missed before. The way she looked at my house. The calculating expression in her eyes. This wasn't a woman who had carelessly forgotten her purse. This was a woman who had left it behind on purpose. Maybe to test me. Maybe to see if I would look inside. "Oh my goodness, Dorothy. Thank you so much for keeping my purse safe," Linda gushed when I handed it over. Her acting was very good. "I can't believe I forgot it." "No problem at all," I replied, watching her carefully check inside. Her fingers moved quickly through the wallet, and I saw the relief flash across her face when she confirmed everything was still there. "I hope you enjoyed showing off your beautiful gift," I said sweetly. "Oh, we did. Marcus is such a thoughtful boy. You raised him so well." The way she said, "boy," when talking about my 35-year-old son made my skin crawl. Marcus appeared behind her, already reaching for his coat. "Well, Mum, we should get going. Work tomorrow, you know." "Actually, Marcus, before you go," I said, keeping my voice sweet, "I got a call from the police. Something about Linda being reported missing." The color drained from Linda's face. Missing? But that's crazy. I'm obviously not missing. That's what I told Officer Patterson. Apparently, your son filed a report. He must be worried sick about you. My son? Linda's voice went up higher. Oh, well, yes. Brian can be too protective. Ever since his father died. She waved her hand like it was no big deal. I should call him. You have a son? Ashley looked genuinely surprised. Linda, you never mentioned having children. The silence was uncomfortable. Linda's eyes darted between all of us, clearly trying to figure out what to say next. Well, we're not very close, she finally said. He lives far away in Seattle. We have different lives, you know. But I knew better now. Those text messages had been desperate and loving. That wasn't how distant relatives talk to each other. How wonderful that you have family who care enough to worry when you don't come home, I said, still smiling. That's precious. After they left, I went straight to my computer. I searched for Brian Chen, Seattle. It took me exactly 15 minutes to find him on social media. And what I discovered made everything suddenly make sense. Brian Chen wasn't just Linda's son. He was a successful lawyer who specialized in helping elderly people who had been tricked out of their money. His Facebook page was full of recent photos with his mother. Photos at family dinners, birthday parties, holidays. This wasn't a distant son. This was a loving child who talked to his mother all the time and spent holidays with her Dot. So why was Linda pretending to be alone? Why was she trying to become part of our family when she clearly had one of her own? I kept searching. I found articles about cases Brian had worked on. Cases about elderly people being tricked by people they trusted. People who pretended to be their friends, but were really stealing their money. My hands went cold as I read one article after another. Either this was an incredible coincidence, or Linda Chen was running a very smart, long-term trick on my family. And my son had just spent $60,000 on a car for her. Money that I was starting to suspect he didn't actually have. I called Marcus's cell phone. It went straight to voicemail, so I called his house. Ashley answered, and she sounded annoyed. Hi, Dorothy. Marcus is in the shower. That's fine, dear. I just wanted to ask him about his finances. You know, with such an expensive gift and all. I'm curious how you two are managing to be so generous. There was a long pause. Too long? What do you mean? Ashley asked. Well, that car isn't cheap. I'm just impressed that you've both done so well for yourselves. We're doing fine, Dorothy. Marcus got a promotion at work. How wonderful. When did that happen? He hasn't mentioned it to me. Another long pause. Recently. Look, I should let you go. Marcus needs help with something. She hung up before I could ask anything else. But that conversation told me everything I needed to know. People who are really doing well with money don't get defensive when you ask about it. They brag about their success. I sat in Tom's chair, looking at my $3 piggy bank and thinking about the $60,000 car in Linda's driveway. Then I thought about those bank statements in her purse, her lawyer son who fights fraud cases, and the spy photos she had taken of my personal documents. Something was very wrong. And I was starting to think that I wasn't the only person Linda Chen was trying to trick. The question was, were Marcus and Ashley helping her, or were they being tricked too? Either way, I was going to find out exactly what Linda Chen was really after. I didn't sleep much that night. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table with coffee and my computer, finding out everything I could about Linda Chen and her son Brian. By sunrise, I had a plan that would have made Tom proud. My first call was to Brian Chen's law office in Seattle. I used my sweetest grandmother voice when his secretary answered. Hello, dear. This is Dorothy Williams from Virginia. I'm calling about Brian's mother, Linda. There was a little incident yesterday, and I want to make sure she's all right. Oh, you must be the family friend she's been visiting. Mr. Chun was so worried yesterday when his mother didn't answer her phone. Is she okay? Family friend. Interesting choice of words. Yes, she's fine now. But I'm curious, how long has Linda been staying in Virginia? Brian must miss her terribly. Oh, it's been several months now. Since September, I think. He calls her every single day. Such a devoted son. He was planning to visit for Christmas, but Linda insisted she wanted to spend the holidays with her new friends there. September. Linda had been planning this for 4 whole months. And she deliberately kept her son away for Christmas so he wouldn't interfere. Well, she's certainly become part of our family here. My son even bought her a car yesterday. The silence was loud. I'm sorry. Did you say your son bought her a car? A beautiful one. $60,000. He's very generous. Mrs. Williams, I think there might be some confusion. Linda has her own car and plenty of money. She wouldn't need anyone to buy her anything. She's quite well off financially. After I hung up, I poured more coffee and stared out my window. Linda Chen was wealthy. She had a loving son. She owned her own car. So why was she letting my son spend $60,000 on another one? And why was she pretending to be alone? An hour later, my phone rang. It was Marcus. Mom, we need to talk. Ashley and I are coming over. When they arrived, they looked serious. Marcus wore his business suit, and Ashley had on her dealing with difficult people outfit. They sat across from me at my kitchen table like judges at a trial. Mum, Marcus began carefully, Linda is very upset. She feels like you violated her privacy yesterday. I raised my eyebrows. By keeping her purse safe. I don't understand. She thinks you went through her things, Ashley said, leaning forward. Well, of course I did. What if something had fallen out? What if she had medicine that needed to be cold? I was being responsible. Marcus's jaw got tight. The thing is, Mum, Linda's been through a lot. Her relationship with her son is complicated, and she doesn't like to talk about it. Complicated? That wasn't how Brian's secretary described their daily phone calls and family dinners. I see. And the police call? Was that complicated too? They looked at each other nervously. Ashley spoke carefully. Linda explained that her son has control issues. He gets anxious when he doesn't know where she is. It's actually part of why she needed to get away from Seattle. Control issues. They were turning a concerned son into a bad guy to explain away yesterday's phone call. How awful for her, I said sympathetically. It must be hard to have family who care too much. Marcus completely missed my sarcasm. Exactly. That's why what you did was so hurtful. She trusted us, and then you started asking questions about her personal life. Marcus, I asked where her son lived. That's hardly an interrogation. Mum, the point is Linda is family now. She's been like a mother to us, especially after Dad died. She's been there for us in ways that... He stopped himself. But the damage was done. In ways that what, Marcus? In ways that I haven't been. Ashley jumped in quickly. That's not what he meant. No, I think it's exactly what he meant. Linda has been like a mother to you. The kind of mother who deserves a $60,000 car, unlike your actual mother who deserves $3 in a piggy bank. The silence was cold and thick. Tell me something, Marcus. How exactly did you afford Linda's car? What do you mean? I mean, $60,000 is a lot of money, even for someone with your new promotion. Another nervous look between them. Ashley touched her wedding ring. She always does that when she's lying. We saved up, Marcus said. For how long? And this promotion you got, when did that happen exactly? He shifted uncomfortably. A few months ago. What's your new title? Regional Sales Manager. Same company. I nodded thoughtfully. That's interesting because I ran into your old boss, Jim Henderson, at the grocery store last week. He mentioned they had to let several people go recently because of budget cuts. He was worried about you. Marcus went very still. Ashley's hand was stuck to her wedding ring. Jim doesn't know about internal promotions, Marcus said finally. No, I suppose he wouldn't, especially if they didn't actually happen. The kitchen fell silent except for the ticking of the grandfather clock. Finally, Ashley spoke up. Dorothy, I think we should go. This conversation isn't helping anything. As I watched them drive away, I realized something important. Linda wasn't just trying to trick me. She was tricking Marcus and Ashley too. The question was, did they know what they were doing? Or were they victims just like me? Either way, it was time to fight back. I spent the rest of the day playing detective, and what I found made me very angry. Marcus hadn't gotten a promotion. In fact, according to his company's public records, he had been written up twice in the last 6 months for doing poorly at work. The $60,000 car hadn't come from his success. It had come from somewhere else. A quick check of public records showed that Marcus and Ashley had taken out a second loan on their house 3 months ago. $70,000 approved in October, right around the time Linda would have been gathering all that information from her spy operation in my house. The pieces were falling into place. Linda had spent months collecting information about my money, my house value, and my late husband's pension. Then somehow she convinced my son to go into debt to buy her an expensive gift, probably with promises about how it would all work out in the end. I had a feeling. I knew what those promises involved. My computer screen showed more shocking news. My house had been appraised 3 months ago. An appraisal I never asked for, was never present for, and never saw the results of the estimated value made. My heart skipped. $450,000. Tom. And I bought this house for $60,000, 30 years ago. We had no idea it was worth so much now. But apparently, Linda Chun knew exactly what it was worth. I called the appraisal company, using my most confused old lady voice. Hello, this is Dorothy Williams on Elm Street. I'm calling about the appraisal done on my property in October. I seem to have lost the paperwork. Of course, Mrs. Williams. Let me look that up. Yes, here it is. October 15th. The appraisal was ordered by Marcus Williams for estate planning purposes. Estate planning? My estate being planned while I was still very much alive. And he was authorized to order this how, exactly? Well, he's listed as your power of attorney on the request form. He provided all the necessary documents. Power of attorney. I thanked her and hung up, my hands shaking with anger. I had never, ever given Marcus power of attorney over anything. But apparently someone had created fake paperwork claiming I did. I drove to my lawyer's office without calling first. Margaret Patterson had handled Tom's will and our planning for 20 years. If anyone had filed power of attorney documents, she would have copies. Dorothy. Margaret looked surprised to see me. I wasn't expecting you today. How are you? I need to see my files, Margaret. All of them. Especially anything involving power of attorney. Her face got serious. Dorothy, is everything all right? I explained everything. The appraisal, Marcus's supposed authorization, Linda Chun and her spy photos and her mysterious financial advice. Margaret listened with growing alarm. Dorothy, I've never prepared any power of attorney documents for you. You were very clear after Tom died that you wanted to maintain complete control of your affairs. Then how did Marcus get authorization to order an appraisal of my house? Margaret was already on her computer. Her fingers flew over the keyboard, then stopped. Her face went white. What is it? I asked. Someone filed a power of attorney document with the county clerk 3 weeks ago. It's notarized and appears to grant Marcus Williams complete authority over your financial and property matters. The room spun a little. That's impossible. I never signed anything like that. Dorothy, I need you to look at something. She turned her monitor toward me. There on the screen was a legal document with my name and signature. It looked official, complete with a notary seal and witness signatures. It was also a complete fake. The signature looks like yours, Margaret said carefully. I studied it closely. It's close, but look at the Y in Dorothy. I always loop it twice. This only has one loop, and I never make my dots into circles. I use plain dots. I pointed to several problems with the handwriting. This is a very good fake, but it's not my signature. Margaret's expression was grim. Dorothy, if someone forged legal documents to gain control of your assets, this is fraud. Serious fraud. We need to call the police. Not yet, I said quickly. I need to understand what they're planning first. If I report this now, they'll just destroy evidence and claim it was all a misunderstanding. Dorothy, this is dangerous. If they have fake power of attorney documents, they could sell your house, drain your bank accounts, anything. I think they're planning exactly that. But I want to catch them doing it. Margaret looked horrified. I can't advise you to wait on this. You're not advising me. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I stood up, feeling more determined than I had in years. But I need you to do something for me. I want to change my will. Change it how? I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. I want to leave everything to charity. Effective immediately. Make it strong, Margaret. No loopholes, no way for Marcus or anyone else to inherit so much as a penny. Dorothy, are you sure? You're angry right now, and decisions made in anger. I'm not angry, Margaret. I'm clear-headed for the first time in months. I thought about my $3 piggy bank and the $60,000 car. I'm done being taken advantage of by people who think love comes with a price tag. The next morning, Linda called me. Her voice was honey-sweet and full of fake concern. Dorothy, darling, I hope you're feeling better after our little misunderstanding yesterday. Oh, Linda, I'm feeling wonderful. Thank you for asking. That's so good to hear. Listen, I was hoping we could talk. Just the two of us, woman to woman. Marcus and Ashley are so worried about you. I almost laughed. Of course they were worried. They probably spent all night wondering how much I actually knew. I'd be happy to talk, Linda. Why don't you come over for coffee this afternoon? Actually, I was thinking we could meet somewhere neutral. That lovely little cafe downtown. Say, 2:00? Neutral territory. She was being careful now. That sounds perfect. I'll see you then. I spent the morning getting ready for what I suspected would be Linda's first real attempt at manipulation. I dressed carefully. My best sweater, Tom's wedding ring prominently displayed, just a touch of lipstick. I wanted to look like a harmless widow who might be easily convinced to make poor decisions. The cafe was nearly empty on a Tuesday afternoon. Linda had arrived early and chosen a corner table where we could talk privately. She sat with her back to the wall where she could see everyone coming and going. This wasn't a grieving widow having coffee with a friend. This was a hunter preparing to catch prey. After some small talk about weather and her new car, Linda leaned forward with that concerned expression she'd perfected. Dorothy, I want you to know that Marcus and Ashley are very worried about you. They think you might be feeling left out, maybe a little jealous of our relationship. I widened my eyes innocently. Jealous? Why would they think that? Well, the questions yesterday about my son, about my finances. It felt a little intrusive, like maybe you were trying to find reasons not to trust me. Linda, I hope you don't think I was prying. I was just making conversation. She reached across the table and patted my hand. Of course, sweetie. I know you meant well. But here's the thing, and I hope you won't be offended. Marcus has shared some concerns about your financial situation. Here we go. My financial situation. I made myself look confused. He's worried that you're not being smart about your money. You know, planning for the future. Making sure your money works for you. I think I'm doing fine, dear. Tom left me well provided for. Linda's smile got more intense. But Dorothy, are you really making the most of what you have? That beautiful house of yours, for instance. It's worth so much money just sitting there. You could be using that value, making investments that would secure your future. Investments? Well, yes. Marcus mentioned that you've been talking about maybe downsizing, finding something more manageable. And I happen to know some people who specialize in helping seniors manage their assets in smart ways. I blinked slowly, pretending to process this. Smart ways? It's complicated, but basically there are legal strategies that can protect your wealth from taxes while giving you access to much more cash. You could sell the house to an investment group I work with, then rent it back at a very reasonable rate. You'd have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest. Plus, you could stay right where you are. The nerve! She was proposing that I sell my house to her associates, then pay them rent to live in my own home while they controlled everything. That sounds complicated, I said carefully. It is, which is why you need experts to handle it. People you trust. She squeezed my hand. Dorothy, I've become very fond of you. You're like the mother I never had. I want to help you make the smartest decisions possible. The mother she never had, while her actual son called her every day and worried when she didn't come home. And Marcus agrees with this plan. Oh, Marcus is very excited about it. He could help manage your investments. Make sure you're getting the best returns. It would be a wonderful way for you two to work together. There it was. The full plan. Sell my house to Linda's associates. Give Marcus control of the money. And somehow trust that they'd all act in my best interests while I paid rent to live in my own home. It sounds like you've put a lot of thought into this, Linda. I have, because I care about you, Dorothy. We all do. She leaned back, confident now. Of course, timing is important with these kinds of strategies. The investment group I'm thinking of only takes new clients at certain times of the year. When would that be? Well, we'd need to move fairly quickly. Within the next few weeks, probably. Of course. Create urgency. Pressure me to make a decision before I had time to think it through. I nodded thoughtfully. This is a lot to consider, Linda. I'd need to think about it carefully. Of course, sweetie. But don't think too long. Opportunities like this don't come around often. Driving home, I couldn't stop smiling. Linda had just confessed to a plan that was completely illegal. She'd handed me everything I needed to stop her, Marcus. And Ashley. But I wasn't ready to spree 3 days after my coffee with Linda. Marcus showed up at my door with a folder full of official-looking papers and a nervous smile. Mum, I brought those investment papers Linda mentioned. I thought we could go through them together. I let him in, watching as his eyes went to the family photos on the mantel. Photos of him graduating college, getting married, all funded by parents who sacrificed everything to give him the best life. These are quite detailed, I said, flipping through pages of confusing legal language. Applications for reverse mortgages, investment transfers, property sales. My goodness, Marcus, you've been busy. Linda's friends are very thorough. They want to make sure everything is done properly. Legally. I raised an eyebrow. Legally? Yes, that's important, isn't it? I set the papers aside and looked directly at my son. Marcus, I need to ask you something, and I want you to tell me the truth. Are you in financial trouble? His practiced composure cracked. What makes you ask that? Well, let's see. You buy a $60,000 car you can't afford for a woman you've known 8 months. You take out a second mortgage on your house. You claim to have gotten a promotion that your company has no record of. And now you're pressuring me to sell my assets for mysterious investment opportunities. I smiled sweetly. Call it mother's intuition. Marcus ran his hands through his hair. Mom, it's complicated. I'm sure it is. Help me understand. For a moment, I thought he might tell me the truth. Then his phone buzzed with Linda's name on the screen, and whatever honesty had been building disappeared. Look, Mom, the bottom line is this. You're sitting on a fortune here. This house, Dad's pension, your savings. But it's not working for you. Linda's investment group can fix that. And you've met these mysterious investors personally. His eyes shifted away. Linda handles all the client relations. Does she now? What kind of experience does she have exactly? Mom, why are you being so suspicious? Linda is trying to help us. Help you, Marcus. I leaned forward. Do you remember when you were 12 and wanted that expensive bicycle for Christmas? The one that cost more than we could afford. He looked confused. Yeah, I remember. Do you remember what your father and I did? You worked extra shifts. Dad picked up weekend jobs. You both sacrificed to get me that bike. That's right. We sacrificed for you because that's what parents do. Now I want you to think very carefully about what you're asking me to do here. His face turned red. That's different. This is about your financial security. No, Marcus. This is about $60,000 you spent on a car, and however much more debt you're carrying that I don't know about yet. He stood up abruptly, the mask finally falling away. You know what, Mum? You're right. We are in trouble. Ashley lost her job 6 months ago. We're behind on the mortgage, behind on everything. And yes, I bought Linda that car because she promised to help us fix this mess. Finally, some honesty. And what exactly did she promise you? She said if we showed her how much we valued her advice, she could help us restructure our finances. She knows people, Mum. Important people with money. People like her mysterious investment group. Yes, and all we need is some startup capital to get into their program. Capital that you're just letting sit here doing nothing. There it was. My son hadn't bought Linda a car out of generosity. He'd bought it as payment for a con job, using borrowed money, betting he could manipulate his mother into bailing him out. Marcus, why didn't you just come to me honestly? Why all this elaborate deception? He went very still. What do you mean? The fake power of attorney documents filed with the county clerk, giving you legal authority over my finances. The ones with my forged signature. The color drained from his face. Mum, I don't know anything about power of attorney documents. That wasn't part of the plan. What plan? Linda said you'd resist at first, but if we showed you how successful we were, you'd eventually come around. She said older people needed to see proof before they'd trust financial advice. I stared at my son, seeing him clearly, perhaps for the first time in years. He was a victim too, just a more willing one. Marcus, Linda Chan is not who she pretends to be. She's been spying on this family for months, forging legal documents, and setting up an elaborate theft of my assets. That's impossible. She's been nothing but kind. Kind people don't take photos of other people's social security cards, Marcus. Kind people don't have their sons file missing person reports.